Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor and President, members of the official party, members of staff, distinguished guests, graduates and guests. Good afternoon. Welcome to this graduation ceremony for the College of Business, Law and Governance. Would you please remain standing for the National Anthem, which will be sung by Ms Tammy Moxon.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, our beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Will the Assembly please be seated? Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Indigenous Education and Strategy, Professor Martin Nakada, Member of the Order of Australia, will now present an acknowledgement to country.
James Cook University has a long-standing tradition in acknowledging and paying respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have occupied Australia for 60,000 years. Indigenous people's relationships to their countries and seas rests on the understanding that the earth is our mother, the mother that gave birth to us all and provides for us every day. The knowledge accumulated by Indigenous Australians over millennia should speak to us all about the importance of human respect and responsibility for the land and seas on which all our lives and those of future generations still depend. James Cook University takes great pride in this important part of our Australian heritage, and as graduates of this university, I sincerely hope that you will carry this understanding forward throughout your lives. Thank you and congratulations on your achievements.
We are assembled here today to acknowledge James Cook University degrees and awards. May I take this opportunity to introduce members of the official party. My name is Mr. Russ Parker, and I am today's Ceremony Marshal. From my right, Professor Stephen Boyle, Dean of the College of Business, Law and Governance. Professor Christine Bruce, Dean of the Graduate Research School. Ms Giselle Bovink, Deputy University Secretary and Mace Bearer. The University's Chancellor, Mr Bill Tudell. Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Sandra Harding, Officer of the Order of Australia. The University's Provost, Professor Chris Coughlin. Ms Tricia Brand, Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the Division of Services and Resources. Professor Stephen Naylor, Chair of the University's Academic Board. Seated behind the official party are members of the university staff. Chancellor, I invite you to address the Assembly.
Good afternoon. I warmly acknowledge today Professor Sandra Harding, AO, our Vice-Chancellor and President, Andrea Della Matea, our distinguished occasional speaker. Andrea has a remarkably successful professional career and a strong connection to JCU as one of our outstanding alumni and as a member of our Singapore campus advisory board. Andrea is based in Singapore and we are very grateful she was able to produce and record an address for us, which will be played later on. I acknowledge also Mr Alex Myhill, our outstanding graduate speaker, who has also recorded a heartwarming message for us. Alex's academic prowess was apparent from a very young age. In fact, Alex was just 15 when he started his Bachelor of Science studies at JCU and on our Bigaboo Yumba campus that now is in Townsville. I acknowledge also members of the official party, members of JCU's governing body, the council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, parents, and most important of all, our graduating students. A big thank you also to Professor Martin Nakata AM, another of JCU's outstanding alumni, for his warm and evocative acknowledgement to country. Martin has made and continues to make a very significant contribution to Indigenous education. Warm thanks also to Tammy Moxon for her stirring rendition of our national anthem and for her excellent pre-ceremony entertainment. James Cook University conducts our business on the lands and the seas of many of Australia's First Nations people. It's therefore with gratitude that I also acknowledge the traditional owners of those lands and seas, their rich cultures, and their unique knowledge of our natural environment. Among the many good aspects of being Chancellor of my alma mater, one of the very best is presiding at graduation ceremonies. 2020 was, by any definition, a tough year, with COVID-19 altering fundamental aspects of our lives and bringing devastation and disruption to our world. Our hearts go out to all who have suffered loss and continue to do so because of the pandemic. The pandemic prompted a fundamental rethinking and rejigging of how JCU goes about our business. The way our JCU community responded was outstanding, a heartening affirmation of what we can achieve when we all pull together and support each other. 2020 was also, of course, and importantly, our university's 50th anniversary year, and as a result of the COVID-19 restrictions, many of the planned celebrations, along with our graduation ceremonies, had to be cancelled or postponed or celebrated in virtual ways rather than in person. All this meant that we weren't able to give many of our students the live graduation ceremony that you all so richly deserve. Happily, the time-honoured tradition of gathering together with your graduating cohort, along with family and friends, and marking the occasion with ceremony and applause has arrived, and we have the opportunity to honour and to celebrate your successes. So I take great pleasure in welcoming you and in congratulating you wholeheartedly on your achievements. In doing so, I also acknowledge with gratitude the family and friends whose love and support have helped bring you to this milestone in your lives. James Cook University has always been proud to celebrate the diversity of cultures and customs that make up our university community and our landscape. It's very special for us to acknowledge and celebrate those deep spiritual connections through a sashing ceremony that we hold just before each graduation ceremony to acknowledge the academic achievements of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. And you see these students proudly wearing their sashes and they come across the stage to receive their awards. In common with other leaders of our university, I place great emphasis on acknowledging the past, present and future contributions which Indigenous Australian communities make to the broader fortunes of our community. In fact, the university has recommitted this focus through the announcement last year that we would be adopting Indigenous language names for each of JCU's campuses in northern Queensland, names gifted to the university by local First Nations communities. I was very proud to participate in these ceremonies and to acknowledge the role of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in the advancement of the university as part of our 50th birthday celebrations. And as we embark on the next 50 years together, James Cook University's relationship with First Nations communities will remain a central focus of our commitment and of our endeavour. Reflecting on our own history as a university, on 20th of April this year, less than a month away, we wrap up our 50th anniversary year since the Queen signed in person the Act which created James Cook University, an historically unique, literally unique occasion for which my wife Chris and I were both present here in Townsville. Last year we also celebrated 60 years of providing higher education in North Queensland. Ladies and gentlemen, these days JCU ceremonies like graduation ceremonies are dignified and relatively formal events. It seems it wasn't always so. One of our clever JCU staff recently drew to my attention a report that during the speeches at the opening of the University College of Townsville in 1961, the audience gained their first experience of university student pranks when, during the official speeches, students thought it would be amusing to lower a series of animals, a dog and a cat apparently, securely harnessed, from the top of a building right where the speeches were taking place. Students also let off one single loud firecracker nearby. The audience, it seems from the records, were quite bemused by all this. I'm relieved then that today's generation of JCU students are so much better behaved than their predecessors, particularly given that we are live streaming this event. A lot has changed, certainly, over the decades, and JCU has played a part in many positive developments in our immediate region and across the tropics, in fulfilment of our truly visionary mandate that was given to us to be Australia's university for the tropics. JCU has grown to be a world leader in education and research on the tropics. We have become a vibrant, multi-campus university, a long way from the humbler institution at which I commenced studies in 1968. Our 50 years as JCU, in our 50 years as JCU, over 50,000 graduates have proven the success of the JCU approach to teaching, learning and research. Our graduates have made significant contributions everywhere you look, playing vital roles in business, as educators, as diplomats, as vice-chancellors, as chancellors, health professionals, community leaders and chief executives. The point I'm making is that in graduating today, you are joining the ranks of some very high-achieving JCU alumni. To name just a few, Ms. Deb Noller, a successful startup entrepreneur and creator of the global business Switch Automation. Ms. Noller received the Chancellor's Outstanding Alumnus Award in 2017. Aaron Guilfoyle, a JCU law graduate who was Queensland's first independent work, health and safety prosecutor. In fact, Aaron's mother, Marjorie Pagani, is a member of JCU's council that I chair and chair of our Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee. Then there's the author and Queensland magistrate, Cathy McLennan, Australia's former ambassador to Spain, Julianne Guevara, a Torres Strait Islander who was the first Indigenous officer in the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade to be promoted to the senior executive service level, which is a marvellously important milestone in Australia's diplomatic history. And outstanding alumnus and JCU Council member Judge Gregory Lynham, Judge of the District Court of Queensland in Townsville, who was the first JCU law graduate to be appointed as a judge. I could go on with impressive examples of those who have gone before you as JCU graduates making a mark on the world. But you'll be relieved to know I'll let those few examples illustrate my point. Especially given that my wife Chris and I are both graduates of James Cook University, a particularly pleasant aspect of my role is to welcome you all, JCU's new graduates, into our alumni family. As JCU's 50th anniversary comes to an end, we can be confident that you, our graduates, have made and will make a significant difference in our community. One of the most uplifting aspects of my role as Chancellor is seeing you all walk across the stage to receive your awards. This will be the time for your family, your friends, your supporters to applaud and cheer you with all the energy they can muster. But please, no firecrackers. Wherever you are in the world, please do keep in touch with JCU. I and many others look forward to hearing of your adventures and successes in the future. Thank you all very much.
Chancellor, I invite the Chair of the Academic Board, Professor Stephen Naylor, to present graduating students.
Would all graduating students please stand? Chancellor, I certify to you and to the University that all graduates standing before you today have fulfilled the requirements prescribed by the University, and I ask that they be recognised as having been admitted to their respective awards.
In the name of the University Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I recognise candidates so approved and congratulate and warmly welcome you as James Cook University alumni.
Will all graduates please be seated?
Chancellor, a Doctor of Philosophy degree takes a special place in our graduation ceremonies. It is one of the highest qualifications which the University awards. This degree is awarded for the successful completion of a significant piece of independent research, sustained in its scholarly character and one which makes an original contribution to the field. External examination is always involved. 6 candidates will be presented this afternoon. Professor Christine Bruce, Dean of Graduate Research, will present the graduates to you, and Professor Stephen Naylor, Chair of the Academic Board, will read their thesis abstracts.
Rhonda Marie Emerson. Dr. Emerson's studies were undertaken in the discipline of law under the supervision of Associate Professor Anna Blackman and Associate Professor Noni Harris.
Chancellor, Dr. Emerson undertook an interpretive phenomenological approach and gathered data with in-depth interviews informed by phenomenology to explore and understand the preparation of parents for family dispute resolution in regional Australia from the perspective of parents, family dispute resolution practitioners and lawyers. Screening parents for psychological distress in order to offer more timely referrals and intervention to assist in effective preparation is a key recommendation of the research findings. Chancellor, I present Dr. Emerson.
T. Min Trang Nguyen. Dr. Nguyen's studies were undertaken in the discipline of business and management under the supervision of Associate Professor Ta Ha Chei Chi, Professor Lynn Eagle and Professor David Lowe.
Chancellor, Dr. Nguyen investigated second-tier stock markets in Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand and Malaysia. She found that second-tier stock markets exhibit tendencies towards efficiency and contribute to macroeconomic development both directly and indirectly through the channel of main stock markets. Policymakers and professional practitioners are using the results of her study. Chancellor, I present Dr. Nguyen.
Kerry Russo. Dr. Russo's studies were undertaken in the discipline of management and commerce under the supervision of Professor Lynn Eagle, Professor David Lowe and Dr. Nicholas Emitage.
Chancellor, Dr. Russo studied the digital divide and digital fluency. She found the divide is predicated on differing digital skills, not access to digital devices. Dr. Russo identified that resourcing schools with laptops without a digital curriculum did not increase digital fluency. If the digital divide is to be conquered, schools must be appropriately resourced to advance digital fluency. Chancellor, I present Dr. Russo.
Samira Zare. Dr. Zare's studies were undertaken in the discipline of tourism under the supervision of the late Distinguished Professor Philip Pearce and Associate Professor Laurie Murphy.
Chancellor, Dr. Zare explored the role of heuristic biases involved in recall and evaluation of tourists' destinations. She found that the first and last cities in a sequence are recalled and evaluated better than the middle destinations. She provided a foundation for future studies about order effects in tourism and hospitality. Chancellor, I present Dr. Zare.
Chancellor, this concludes the presentation of Doctor of Philosophy Awards.
Chancellor, I invite Professor Stephen Boyle, Dean of the College of Business, Law and Governance, to present the college graduates.
Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Business, Sonia Arnold. Sinthusa Arajshifam. Kane Au. Liam Nevden Baker. Adam Kevin Barnes. Elizabeth Joy Baxendale. Kate Adele Beale. Ethan Bell. Addie Bowie. Winner of the Port of Townsville Limited Prize in Commerce and Economics and Marketing, Hannah Mae Bradley. Michaela Wynne Brand. Sarah Julie Buchanan. Hannah Courtney Burden. Drew William Warry. Brianna Jean Carlisle. Margaret Joyce Cedar. Hayden William Chapman. Michael Alistair Collins. Ebony May Korialkula. Charmaine Teresa Cullum. Siobhan Page Davies. Matthew David DePrima. Kayla Elizabeth Dodd. Charlena Isabel Druschmann. Amore Eckersley. Brianna Louise Elms. Samantha K. Emmett. Christelle Lee Ewing Davis. Jake Farrell. Chloe Ann Foote. Tani Rachel Ford. Danielle Marie Fraser. Jeremy Krazel Saibagleya Gabe. Diana Fahy Gamuida. Jeremy Adrian Garcia Alvanas. Carl William Geiger. Lachlan James Giarusso. Jessica Ailey Goldner. Gursajan Singh. Amy Louise Hain. Catherine Margaret Hogan. Brady Joel Holdsworth. Winner of the Futurist Marketing Tech Excellence Award, Elise Ann Hornblow. Bree Emily Yeager. Chelsea Ann James. Achala Senanayake. Winner of the Futurist Marketing Tech Excellence Award, Chirono Kate Keme. Amy Melinda Compass. Luke William Lambourne. Melisha Geraldine Lacia. Danica Courtney Law. David Newman Lawrence. Danielle Layug. Herman Theo Leach. Ali James Leet. Braden Legg. Shayna Bree Leo. Fazana Lodi. Ramona Tani Lawrence. Manlovpreet Singh. James Alexander McGoffin. Tyrell Maguire. Olivia Page Marbelli. Zoe Jade McLellan. Abby K. MacDonald. Caitlin Ann Melvin. Bethany Jane Miller. Alex Leslie Milton. Isse Mohammed Omar. Shannon Lee Morgan. Jordan Mosley. Nafak Mustaf Ahmed. Michaela Jade Newman. Tamaran Jane O'Brien. Thomas James O'Grady. Harrison Bryce Parks. Olivia Renee Pascal. Ben Samuel Perkins. Melinda Rebecca Perry. Vignesh Paramal Rathnamkumar. Julia Lauren Peterson. Mitchell John Pilcher. David Robert Pleece. Daniel Thomas Pollock. Alanis Dakara Raplitza. Grace Marie Robinson. Winner of the PVW Partners Prize, Ethan Raveglia. James Mankin Sangma. Brittany Ella Simkin. Isabella Teresa Sorrell Sinclair. Adriana May Gonwika Smith. Alexander George Stathoulis. Kerry Marie Stockwell. Isabella June Sutcliffe. Seraphia Crescent Temba. Reshma Mary Robin Thekakara. Princess Joy Thomas. Jasmine Trevisan. Hung Min Trin. Stevie Marie Van Mierlo. Jared Kyle Vasilini. Ashley Jane Walsh. Cherie May Ward. Sasha Isles Wasmond. Alex Peter Wellman. Finley Saul Wilkinson. Gabrielle Beth Winspear. Hannah Amy Wright. Lachlan John Wright. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Business with Distinction. Jackson Stewart Brooks. Courtney Louise Freestone. Melithi Amanda Sasheni Gamaje. Andy Kirsten Gelling. Winner of the Ville Resort Casino Prize, Lewis Grutz. Alexandra Grace Hall. Sarah Jane Hooley. Sarah Jane Jeffers. Winner of the Ville Resort Casino Prize, Catherine Rose Murphy. Sisandi Tamasha Ranasinga Hetty at Arich Chiga. Natalie Ann Smith. Rhiannon Jade Voigt. Kobe Marie Vontine Maharaj. Sam Lawrence Waitman. Shannon Georgia Wilcox. Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Laws Honours, Hannah Louise McNeil. Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Graduate Certificate and Graduate Diploma of Business Administration, Randall Samarasiwa. Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration and the Graduate Certificate of Conflict Management and Resolution, Sia Kataria. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration, Adam Charles Blackburn. Irfan Sheikh. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration with distinction. Nicholas Gregory O'Connor. Grace Ellen Stanton. Elvine Rosemary Whitbread. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration, Master of Conflict Management and Resolution. Maria Gabriela Licari. Joel Campbell Tan. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration Leadership. Imanka Sajith Rathnayake. Sibin Selvin. Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration Leadership with distinction, Marie Ellen Butler. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration Global, Stephen William Curtis. Brendan Shane Daniels. David George Dawson. Drillon Gashi. Matthew Stephen King. Sona Omak. Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration Global with distinction, Rachel Ann Cliff. Chancellor, this concludes the presentation of the College of Business Law and Governance Awards.
Chancellor, I have pleasure in introducing today's occasional speaker, Ms. Andrea Della Matea. Ms. Della Matea is the President of Microsoft Asia Pacific, whose mission is to empower every person and every organisation on the planet to achieve more. Ms. Della Matea has more than 25 years' experience in the technology sector. A student of James Cook University between 1989 and 1992, Ms. Della Matea received her Bachelor of Engineering Computer Systems degree with Class 1 honours in 1993. Ms. Della Matea is also a graduate member of the Australian Institute of Company Directors and currently serves on the Board of Directors for Meals on Wheels New South Wales, the Advisory Board for Habitat for Humanity Australia, and the James Cook University Singapore Advisory Board. Ms. Della Matea was awarded an Outstanding Alumni Award in 2010 and currently resides in Singapore with her husband and 2 sons. Due to the current international travel restrictions, Ms. Della Matea's address has been pre-recorded. Chancellor, Ms. Andrea Della Matea.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor and President, members of Council, members of staff, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, JCU graduates. I'm incredibly honoured to be here with you today to celebrate you and your achievements. Now, who would have ever imagined that a global pandemic would impact the world as it did? And yet, thanks to the incredible team at James Cook University, and technology, of course, we all have the opportunity to be here with you today to celebrate you. Now, I've no doubt when you look back and you reflect upon the prior years, you're probably filled with some mixed emotions. On the first day, that sense of excitement starting out on your degree, meeting new students, some from other cities or other countries. many of who may become your lifelong friends, others who might become a future business partner if you have dreams of starting your own organisation to make a difference in the world. And of course, today, your graduation day, that sense of achievement, finally completing your degree. You know, when I look back and reflect upon my time at James Cook, I have so many incredible memories. But what I remember most vividly is the look in my parents' eyes. They were so proud of me, of my achievements, and they were so excited to see me graduate. And I simply could not have made it through my degree without their support. James Cook wasn't close to where I lived, and back then, in the 90s, we didn't have Snapchat, Instagram, or TikTok, and yet I always knew my parents had my back, and they were there for me when I needed them, through the good times and the bad. And let's face it, there certainly were some tough days. Now, for some of you graduating today, you may know that same feeling. So I'd like to take a moment to thank and recognise the parents, family members and friends who are here today to celebrate our graduates. Thank you for your unwavering support and guidance for our graduates. It's the advice you give, the values that you impart, that have helped shape and influence who our graduates are today. And you should be incredibly proud, because today is as much about you as it is our graduates. And now to our James Cook graduates, a hearty congratulations. You've made it to graduation. And you're graduating from an incredible university where people are making a difference to create a brighter future for life in the tropics. Okay, so now that you've graduated, what's next? Where to from here now, right? When Professor Harding first invited me to give the occasional address, I had to stop and think, what would be of interest to share with you? I've had so many learnings since I graduated back in 1993, so I asked myself, what would I have loved to know back then on my graduation day? And I've decided to share 3 learnings with you. And the first is to follow your passion. Find something you believe in. Find something that you feel strongly about, to pay it forward and give back to somebody else. When I studied engineering, it was a time when there were very few females studying engineering, and there were very few females in the engineering industry. And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about spending time with young female students in high school and university, encouraging them to pursue STEM. And I feel really humbled that I'm invited to speak with young female students. I remember fondly how I spent International Women's Day one year with 500 young female high school students in Sri Lanka. Those girls just blew me away with their hopes and dreams, and big hopes and dreams. One young girl wanted to develop an app to help people with depression. And another young girl wanted to develop an app to help better educate youths in remote locations. Their stories were just so inspirational and so powerful. And I feel really humbled where I'm in a position that I can give back and I can balance my personal passion with my professional career. And that leads me to my second piece of advice. I encourage you to find people who believe in you and your potential. You know, in your life, you will meet people who may not believe in you and your potential. They'll be the naysayers and the critics. Do not let them define who you are. Only you can define who you are, and I encourage you to be the very best version of you that you can possibly imagine. I was very fortunate early on in my career to interview with a young tech entrepreneur. And I still remember, as I was preparing for the interview, I was ready to talk about my history, my results, what I had achieved, and yet the young entrepreneur wanted to focus on my future and what I wanted to do, my aspirations. And in hindsight, looking back, he saw something in me, and that was my potential. When you work with someone who believes in you, and your potential. They give you the opportunity to learn, to take a risk, to fail, and to grow. You know, we all have unlimited potential, but it takes real courage to realise that potential and to be fearless. Lastly, I encourage you to go out there and change the world. The world desperately needs you, now more than ever. Young, hopeful, fearless, passionate people. You know, there are many ways to make money out there, but at the end of the day, all you'll have is money. If you strive to make a difference in this world, then you'll have lived a life worth living. I'm really fortunate that I have the opportunity to work with an organisation that supports and encourages me to do just that. At Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organisation on the planet to achieve more. And that's what inspires me. It's knowing that every day we're making a difference. We're helping young girls in Sri Lanka to beat the odds, we're helping entrepreneurs to fulfill their dreams, and we're empowering the planet. So I encourage you, go out there and change the world. Leave your mark in the sand. Think about the difference that you want to make. And with that, I'd like to congratulate you again on your graduation day and wish you all the very best for success. Cheers.
Chancellor, outstanding graduate Mr. Alex Myhill will now present the 2021 graduate address. Mr. Myhill's address has also been pre-recorded.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor and President, members of Council, members of staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of my fellow graduates to Ms. Andrea Della Mattia, today's occasional speaker. I am certain that I speak for us all when I say that we are inspired and empowered by the eloquent words of this outstanding JCU alumni. Ms. Andrea Della Mattia, your experience and wisdom reflected in your speech today places before us a lofty goal. Your reminder to us of the opportunities that await in the modern world, as well as the pitfalls, is invaluable. It is incumbent on all of us graduates assembled here today to reflect on and aspire to put into practice your words of inspiration from this day forward. Chancellor, on behalf of today's graduates, would you please pass on our thanks and gratitude to Ms. Andrea Della Mattia. Having reached this milestone of celebrating our achievements at today's ceremony, it is important to acknowledge the journey that we have all undergone. Everyone graduating today has had a different pathway to this point. Some of us came straight from school. Others took a leap of faith after a period in the workforce. There are several common factors, however, that bind us together. The first is the support of our parents, family, and friends. Tertiary education, whilst exciting and uplifting, can be very demanding and stressful. Throughout the journey that we have taken, these great people have shared in our successes, comforted us in our failings, acted as our confidants when we questioned our own abilities, and for some, been a shoulder to cry on. You have enriched our lives and enabled our journey of growth and learning. You have and deserve our eternal gratitude, and, dare I say it, you can finally breathe a sigh of relief on our behalf. Graduates, please stand and turn towards your family and friends here today and join me in a vigorous round of applause. Graduates, please be seated. Another common factor that binds us all together is the staff that we have learned from. Physics tells us that getting information out of a black hole is not possible. Thankfully, we haven't needed to do that. Your dedication, professionalism, and knowledge and passion are examples for us all to follow. The lecturers, tutors, and research staff have implanted within us the seed of knowledge and laid it in the, hopefully, fertile soil that it deserves. Our gratitude cannot be overstated. If we ever are able to see further than you, it will be because of your vision and commitment. Finally, what binds us, the 2019 and 2020 graduates assembled here today, is the fact that we have completed our degrees. Congratulations to us all. It is a momentous occasion. Through the highs and the lows, we have persevered to get to this point. We have learned that to succeed is not to be a success, but more importantly that to fail is not to be a failure. As Churchill stated, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. We have gained this resilience through our experience, and we will continue to require this trait for the rest of our lives. I would like to conclude with a brief glance at history. We are the beneficiaries of an inheritance that must be treasured, an inheritance that extends back to the great scholars of antiquity, that encompasses the Eastern and Western intellectual traditions, culture, and music. It is an inheritance that includes the men and women of the Renaissance and the great figures of the last century, and prefigures and post-dates the dawn of rigorous science and medicine, and the explosion of art and music. These factors exemplify the pursuit of knowledge and the refinement of culture that are universal to all humankind. These are the ultimate ties that bind. This is our torch to bear throughout life. It is our role to never let the flame of curiosity and the fire of discovery and the spark of creativity die. Let this day, therefore, not be the end of our journey, but merely the start. God bless our family and the staff who made this day possible, and God bless everyone who will graduate today. Let us guard this inheritance with jealousy, and maybe we will see a little further than the giants whose shoulders we stand upon. Thank you, and congratulations to us all.
Chancellor, I now have the pleasure of inviting the Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Sandra Harding, to deliver the closing address.
Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, children, and most of all, though, our graduates. I'm here to congratulate you, our graduates, and I do so most warmly and sincerely. You have achieved something important, really something mighty, by being here today. You have stayed the course and met the requirements of your degree program, and you enter the world in a new way as a James Cook University graduate, now a member of the JCU alumni. You deserve my very best congratulations and those of everyone in this auditorium. We celebrate you and we honour you. Well done, graduates, well done. Second, I acknowledge and congratulate your parents, family, friends, loved ones and supporters, many here and many more who are watching the live stream or simply thinking of you from afar. As you walked across the stage, the pride of those here, their pride in you and what you achieved today was obvious. On a day like this, a day that can seem like it's all about you, I hope you will take a moment to think about them. In many ways, your parents' or carers' job over many years, from the time you were born, has been to practice letting you go. Certainly to love you, to help you, to guide you, and to provide what they could for you. But ultimately, their job is to let you go, to become your own person. Until you become a parent or grandparent or carer, you cannot know what this letting go is like. Watching you grow and achieve, seeing you struggle and succeed, and not knowing how or if they can help while hoping that you make choices worthy of you. That watching is joyful and hard and sad and wonderful all at once. Your other family members, your friends and supporters have had a similar job, to be there with you and for you, to help you along your way as best they can, but to let you be who you are, who you want to be. Graduates, my point is that this letting go is a very difficult task, and all these people here today, or thinking of you from afar, who have loved and supported you as long as they have known you, they deserve my very best congratulations for all they have done for you, and they deserve yours too. Once this ceremony is concluded, please take a moment to tell them so, for surely you wouldn't be here without them. Strangely perhaps, the job of your professors and lecturers and the professional and technical staff of the university is rather the same as those others we acknowledge today. While our engagement with you hasn't been for as long, we too have watched you develop, and our job has been to guide and to help you as you work towards achieving your qualification. So I congratulate and thank my university colleagues for the important role they have played on your educational journey. Know that we're here to help you as best we can, but we are also in the business of letting you go, to develop and grow from here. Now, with thanks delivered, you might think that my job in this ceremony is done. Not so. My job is to give you the last word from the university, and that last word, in just a few moments more, focuses on you and on what happens from here. The late 1990s movie Sliding Doors, starring Gwyneth Paltrow, explored the consequences of making a particular choice. The central idea is that the choices we make at any moment will take us in one direction, whereas a different choice made at that same moment might have very different life consequences. It wasn't a great movie and far from a startling box office success, but that central idea about the possibility of different lives lived as a result of our choices is intriguing, and it rings true for many of us. Graduates, in the spirit of letting you go, it is your choices from here that I want to speak with you about. I put it to you today, as you sit here, and for the rest of your professional life, there are two critical questions facing you. How you choose to respond to them is up to you and you alone. Together, your response, what you choose, will determine your life's course. Here's the first question. Can you do what needs to be done? Can you do what needs to be done? Now, answering this question might seem easy. Each and every one of you has already shown that you are capable and that you can do what needs to be done. While working towards achieving your goal of completing your degree program, you were tested, you endured, you succeeded. You wouldn't be here otherwise, the very centre of this celebration. But there's another side to this question. As a new graduate, can you do what needs to be done from here as a professional in this world? While a good income and community esteem are often linked to professional practice, it is service that lies at the heart of being a professional. Indeed, all professions serve others in one way or another. Some have legal obligations to do so. This means that while you now have a solid knowledge and skills base to practice as a professional in your field, with your degree proof of that, more is required of you. In order to be able to do what needs to be done, in order to serve as a professional, you will need to build on that base throughout your career. You will need to make learning and development your constant companions. This is vital. As you practice your profession, others will be relying on your up-to-date skills and knowledge, on your advice and your expertise. Often those others will need your utmost attention and effort, your utmost professionalism in a moment when they may be vulnerable or questioning or don't know what to do, relying on you to help them understand, to guide their action to do or to be better. Meeting the needs of others, your service, requires that you commit to growing your knowledge and skills, your understanding and expertise. So my first question is, can you do this? Can you do what needs to be done to serve as a professional in this world? Graduates, I don't doubt, and I expect that no one here in this auditorium today doubts that you can do this, that you can do what needs to be done if you choose. But here's my second question. Graduates, will you do what needs to be done? Will you do what needs to be done? If your professional life from here is like most others, most of your days will be fairly routine. You will grow your capability and your understanding of your profession. You will serve. You may even become a leader in your field whom other professionals look to for guidance and advice. On those routine days, you will meet others' needs as required, and you will practice your profession by simply getting on with the job that you've committed to do. But graduates, there is nothing surer than this. From time to time, among those many routine days, there will be days of extraordinary intensity and hard choices. At those times, despite all your commitment to learning and growing your knowledge and expertise, despite all your experience and understanding, there will be moments when you are truly tested to a point where you feel you don't know, where it all seems too hard. There will be times when you must choose between what others need and what you want. There will be times when you must choose between an easy path and the right path. What you choose at these times, these most difficult of times, that will come to you as they do to us all, is full of meaning for those who are depending on you, and for you as a professional and as a person. It is in these moments that you will need to find strength and courage. You will need to find your will to do what needs to be done. Making the choice to do what needs to be done when it is hard and you'd rather not, when you yourself might be criticised or feel at risk, will test your strength and your courage. Making the choice to do what needs to be done in these moments will test your honesty and your humility. It will test your ethics and your integrity. It will test your worth as a professional. But most of all, making the choice to do what needs to be done will test who you really are and who you have become. Your choice at those moments, and those moments will come to you, your choice at those most difficult moments will define you as a professional and as a human being in this world. Graduates, your parents, friends, loved ones and supporters chose to do all they could for you, and they choose to let you go, to be your own person, to write your own script in this world. By means of their love and support for you, they have chosen you and all your promise. And here they are again, in this place, or thinking of you from afar. As hard as it is, they are doing their very best to let you go, to make your own choices from here, for you to decide what sort of professional, what sort of person you will become. Now, and there's no putting this off, right now, it is time for you to choose. Will you commit to doing what needs to be done, easy or not, whether you want to or not? Will you make this choice, this solemn vow to yourself, to those who love you and care for you, and to the many others you have not yet met, but who will be depending on you? Will you do this and set your life's course to become the professional, to become the person you were always meant to be? Graduates, I urge you to think deeply on this. If you can make this choice, if you will commit to doing what needs to be done, know this: the world will be a better place for you having lived in it. Graduates, choose wisely. Goodbye and good luck.
Chancellor, the successful staging of this ceremony is the culminative effort of many university staff. I would like to thank the ceremonies and examination officers for their coordination of this ceremony. This graduation ceremony is now concluded. Graduates and guests, please observe COVID-safe distancing as you practices as you exit the venue. Will the Assembly please stand as the Chancellor leads the academic procession from the auditorium?